In this lesson, we examine the steps and concepts related to creating a business continuity plan. This is part of the CISSP Domain 1. Before looking at how to create a business continuity plan, or BCP, we need to define some concepts. First, a BCP provides an organization with practiced activities and controls that enable continued operation of critical business functions when a failure occurs. Maximum tolerable downtime, or MTD, is a key metric in business continuity. It is the length of time a critical business function can be down before an organization incurs significant impact, an impact it may not recover from. A business continuity event is caused by a technology failure that may interrupt a critical business function. A disaster is a type of business continuity event. However, recovery from the failure may not be possible before reaching the maximum tolerable downtime of a business function or set of business functions. The recovery point objective, or RPO, is the point to which an organization can be restored. It depends on how backups are done and how behind backups are from actual business functions. In other words, how much data is lost even after restoring a backup. Mean time before failure, or MTBF, is the length of time a system is expected to operate without a failure. From a business function perspective, how long can a business function operate until partially or fully interrupted? The recovery time objective, or RTO, is the length of time needed or expected to achieve the recovery point objective. It must be less than the MTD. Now we'll use the WRT, or work recovery time, to bring all of the recovery objectives together. First, the system and the supported business functions are working properly during the MTBF. Eventually, the system fails, taking down supported business functions. IT, or the incident response team, responds and returns the system and data to the RPO during the RTO. Finally, the business re-enters information lost due to the age of the restored backup. The time this takes is the work recovery time. At the end of the WRT, the business functions are fully restored. Note that the recovery of a system and restoration of backups does not usually provide full business functionality. The combined time represented by the RTO and the WRT should fall within the maximum tolerable downtime. It's also important to note that manual processes identified during business continuity planning can restore full but inefficient business function recovery before the end of the WRT is reached. Continuance of critical business functions after a system or network failure is required by law or necessity in some industries. Two of these industries are healthcare and finance. Entities covered by the HIPAA must plan ahead to ensure continued patient care. These requirements include a formal backup plan, a disaster recovery plan, which is part of business continuity planning, and ensuring patient care activities continue during small or catastrophic technology failures. Requirements for financial organizations are largely a complete set of planning needs for any BCP. The Financial Industry Regulatory Authority, or FINRA, Rule 4370, requires an overall approach to maintaining critical business functions and continued service to customers, regardless of the type of business continuity event. Three standards provide frameworks for businesses to build an effective BCP: ISO 22301, ISO 22313, and ANSI ACIS SPC 1-2009. Now we come to the steps needed to build a business continuity plan. Like many security processes, this is cyclical. In other words, planning for resilience is an ongoing activity. The steps in this lesson are based on the NIST standard. There are many different approaches, and the CISSP exam doesn't specifically ask what step something happens in. So, using this widely accepted standard is a good approach. The steps are to develop a policy, conduct a BIA, identify preventive controls, create contingency strategies, develop a contingency plan, training recovery teams and test effectiveness, and maintaining the plan. Continuity planning begins with a policy statement. The policy statement sets the framework and requirements for the planning project. It provides management support and ensures the proper resources. It also sets forth training and testing requirements. Further, the policy statement sets a scope for the project. Scope might only apply to the one or more of the most business-critical functions. Finally, it requires both planned maintenance and backup requirements to meet recovery objectives. So, we see the creation of the original business continuity plan as a project. But at the end of that project, we still have the responsibility to test and maintain the outcomes of the project. The BIA, or Business Impact Analysis, is a critical component of business continuity planning. It enables prioritization of what resilience efforts are needed most. It also requires identification of critical business functions. The next step is identifying preventive controls. Resilience begins during system design, but it can also be added once a system is in production, although implementation of security controls is certainly less expensive. System components should be selected based on the expected MTBF. In addition, single points of failure must be addressed and redundancy implemented when reasonable and appropriate. Backups should be done as needed to achieve the system RPO and backup media stored off-site. Next, the team evaluates contingency strategies. Contingency strategies enable recovery within the RTO and the MTD, including managing appropriate backup strategies, keeping spare components on site, and maintaining alternate recovery sites. Cold sites are often described as just plugs, walls, and a roof. This is mostly true, but they also should include access to the internet and phone services. Warm sites are ready for use as soon as the recovering organizations bring in their servers and storage devices. Warm sites often contain network infrastructure needed to connect the servers. A hot site has all infrastructure and devices needed to set up one or more systems. The recovering organization must set up and configure provided equipment. Mirror sites are images of the supported systems. They are immediately available for a recovering organization to switch operation to the mirror site. A new approach to recovery is cloud bursting hopping. If an organization has a private cloud, use of provisioning tools such as Puppet Shelf or vendor proprietary solutions can enable transition from an internal to an external cloud infrastructure. A business continuity plan is largely ineffective unless a team is created, the team is trained, and the team participates in table and recovery site exercises. Exercises enable the team members to quickly respond to a business continuity event. In addition, the plan is improved as the team discovers gaps during testing. The recovery team must include everyone necessary to assess an event and recover from it. Team members also include legal and PR representatives so the organization can properly communicate internally and externally. Finally, we must maintain the plan. Information processing environments are dynamic. Systems are added or changed. Business functions are modified, discontinued, or changed. All of these changes must be made to the business continuity plan. To achieve this, we must integrate business continuity maintenance as part of the change management process. A key takeaway from this lesson is the focus of business continuity planning. It is to continue the operation of business functions. This is why we begin planning by identifying and focusing on business functions critical to continued business operation. We then map the infrastructure that supports the functions and manage its resilience. That's it for this lesson. If you have questions, please ask. And until next time, be careful what you click.